Right. You start by claiming self and nationalizing yourself. Because to be an American, you either are by birth or by naturalization. See what I'm saying? To be naturalized, you have to be a part of the nation. Therefore, whatever body that you're with has to be functioning and activating in the capacity of a nation. And we just read what the national aspect is. But when that happens, most blacks fall into the white supremacist notion of one of those objectives that we listed, that all wind up supporting the white supremacist system in the first place, which really doesn't exist. It exists in the mind of those people who perpetuate it. You understand? But it's mostly perpetuated by people that aren't white. But this is their natural station. Not natural like they can't be nothing else. However, in everything that they put out, they always put out that they're, both God and the devil. But you can't be both. Whereas man, original man, has the ability to transcend both and exist in the higher self as or with Allah. That then manifests through him or her through the arm, leg, arm, head, by the actions and what you're able to produce. So as you can see, this was the lot on the left, right-hand side of Caucasian people. The brutality that you see happening to us and the misrepresentation that was happening to us in these documents that you find, in these manifests, in these stories, a lot of that was fabricated or put in the improper context. If I kidnap you, a royal, and then ship you to a plantation without your knowing down to, Barbados or whatever, and then force you to live in a subject status, regardless to how, whatever, you either going to break to that or you're going to fight to that to the death. And this became the basis by which property and land could be taken. And the employ of that to make that happen, this is where these other races started to come up. And so history plays out the opposite effect, where we always see us at the downswing. When they were the ones always battling to find a way to perpetually take control. And in that, usher in a world or a system by which their aspect of doing things was the norm, which is the exact opposite, because that only worked in dominions that they had control over, which was not many. They carved up the empire that was already there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't make these places. They didn't make India. India was thriving for thousands upon thousands of years. Dark-skinned people was ruling for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. But we can't even claim or remember. Yet it falls to us to remember in order to access. And that's where the disconnect comes, because we're involved in so many different aspects that we don't have a national identity collectively. So those of us that subscribe to this are this. You know what I'm saying? Or have to be this because they put you through hell from that. Somebody named KPZK Lex posted a diagram which was, I think, accurate. You can find in the book Mongol Invasion in the 13th century of Peru. And kind of illustrates what I'm saying. We had a massive influx of foreigners working to destabilize and take advantage of the war between the types of Moors that were striving to maintain against what we perceive to be as Western Christianity. You know what I mean? So you got an import coming this way as they was being expelled by the Moorish Red Duchess in Russia. And then you had the Khan in them as the destabilization and what will become the rise of China. And its breakaway from Taiwan, where you get the so-called Mongol invasion, which is why you had so many Asian people in San Francisco and all of that. But these were still Asiatics. You see what I'm saying? Like us mostly. And then it became a mixture and a transliteration because now they were able to bring all of their crime syndicates and stuff over here for them to do business the way that they was doing it over there. And due to now 100 years of being redesignated as Negro black colored, we now could not control the mode of operation, the means of production, which came from running the actual government. Because now it was a new deal being run and a whole nother foreign corporation had now taken control by 1933. That's why the prophet had to come before that to give them the warning and us, which would then set in motion where we are today. So you have the conflict coming between these type of Moors. You see what I'm saying? And then this type of Moor is now on land going against the so-called direct government. So eventually they all get redesignated as Negro black colored. The Haitian Revolution is snatched away. And all the South American governments then start to go into a situation where now the different Spaniard classes that are promoted by the United States come in and the darker peoples are forced out, or the people who want to stay and keep their, roots, they're basically forced to the fringe. And that's when the second class society starts, and then colonialism, you see what I'm saying? By the late 1800s. All based on us falling over here. And then being put under this fake spell. So if you think I'm bugging, this was, again, from back in the days. Somebody posted this. You see, I just showed you the 3 types of Moors or Asiatics. Here we go again. Asiatico-Mongolian, that's what they call them today, the ancient Tatarian. Deep yellow color. Hair black, stiff, red, rather bald head. Heads almost square, shaped mouths, whatever. Flat forehead, small eyes. The American or Indian race, found only in America, is of the deep copper color, straight black hair, huge high cheekbones, black sullen large faces, robust bodies, bone. Then you have the African or Negro race, which have the jet black skin, low, narrow foreheads, black, woolly hair, thick lips, and long heels. Because these are the ones that they are targeting, see what I'm saying, to be able to mix these two in with. You understand? Based on the Portuguese, which again were, Moors, really, but who employed white privateers to do their bidding for them, and employed the Congolese. And by the time Alphonse found out what was really going on, he had already been Christianized the whole kingdom and all of that. So that made him an enemy to some of his other animist or Islamic neighbors in terms of countries, and eventually the French came and exploited the whole thing. So That's what's up. Anybody have any last questions before we close out? Anybody any questions before we close out? The first thing I would say would be get a book called Time Walker by Meredith Quinn. You can get another book called Secrets of the Mounds. Um, get a book called The Mound. Also, look into the spiritual practices of the Anasazi people. Get a book called Time in the Technosphere to get into their relationship between them and the Olmecs and the Moors. It is. It's really the same. It's just that it's being employed by Caucasian people through Christianity. Remember, I said George created the Book of the Hundreds, which was a way for Christians basically to practice Moorish type business practices and nobility and stuff, but still be Christians. But practice more science, whatever, in secret. And so he or they established this type of order that allowed people to do that. Blessings to you, man. I'm glad you're safe, bro. One thing that can happen is just hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. My computer is messed up, so it threw me off this month like heavy. So I'm sorry if anybody that ordered anything or I haven't been able to get back to. Been having to redraft a lot of stuff by hand and stuff. So what was I gonna say? So you can hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. And yeah, be safe, brother. Definitely that. This is also something that the ancestors used to do. They used to put bebes and stuff at the bottom of their shoes. Some of the Moors used to do like crescent and star, magic squares or whatever. These were just some of the ancient practices they would do on their journeys and stuff. Just for some reason, let people know. This again is an image of us in our splendor. You know, be hating. As you can see, they're distinctly Moorish. It's not African or whatever. So, yeah, we showed and proved, I think, a lot tonight again. So, anybody have any questions, hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. You can also check out www.cordobaorganics.com. Also, www.aseertheducateers.com. I'll definitely hit you back. I'm striving to work it out to get back. Everybody's join out if you ordered. Get it out sooner than later, inshallah. Yeah, they're about to come up to what is it, Samhain? See the Samhain, Beltane, Walpurgis. Walpurgis is the night before Beltane. Yeah, so they're about to do their thing. Because again, this is the last month of Jason. So that's why they've been doing all of the BS. That's why, again, as we close, I definitely want to give respect and light to all of the Moabites sisters that have been in situations where they haven't been supported by Moors or been in a situation where they were supposed to be or whatever, or had to pledge things and be involved in different ideologies that they didn't understand was actually a part of the system that I just explained to you earlier. So we definitely want to pray for them and pray for their families, as well as pray to the to Allah or to whatever you see, whatever, to those angels I spoke of that exist in the four corners that act as that. Also, real quick, human beings are not angels in the context of angels. We're angels in the context of messengers. We're, in a sense, above them, above that. Because once the message is given, it's then about you being God and seeing it through. So with these women, they represent an aspect of our society that is left unprotected because of integration, because of uh, malignancy amongst us, because of apathy, because of sectarianism, separatism, because of all of these ideologies that we spoke earlier. So you definitely want to give respect to them and their families and their sacrifice. Inshallah, they will receive justice and they'll be avenged. And on the day of judgment, we'll be there with the flaming sword and seeing it go down. But until then, we have to, in a sense, get our nationality and our understanding of ourselves straight first before we can help each other. So then that way we can do things like I say, group economics, trust to trust banking. There's a whole lot of stuff that can be done, man. It's just that we can't do it on the internet and we can't do it from the perspective of allowing situations like this to happen. There's nothing within any of these communities and any of these religious societies, and if it is not helping, that has established anything that we can find an independent courier in which we can get some sort of enforcement or penalty for whoever was behind the conspiracy to murder these women and the 64,000 other Asiatic women that are currently missing or in the human trafficking network being funded by things like DHS and Child Protective Services and Planned Parenthood and all that type of stuff. So essentially, it's up to us. What we're going to do as Moors, as men, as women. And inshallah, we can get to a point where we can establish something where we can deprive it and raise our children in the manner and splendor that we're supposed to have. It's very possible. And there's a lot of people living like that. The problem is they trying to live like that and then live like everybody else too. And you can't tap dance and slow dance at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So Islam, thank you guys. And if you have any questions, just hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. All right. Peace.